Welcome to Legacy Lounge, the podcast where you'll discover how to lead with purpose and build a legacy that matters. So if you're ready to step into your full potential, show up authentically for yourself and others, and create a lasting impact on the world, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Welcome back to the Legacy Lounge. I'm your host, Brin'na Rollins-Williams, and today we are diving into something that most leaders desperately try to avoid: conflict. But here is what I know to be true from leading thousands of people. The best leaders I know have one thing in common. They don't run from hard conversations. They actually run towards them. Because here's the truth. Conflict is not the enemy of good leadership. Conflict avoidance is. So today, I'm going to share some insight around the 2-minute rule that supported changing the transformation of our culture when I ran teams at the one and only Target. The 2-minute rule not only supported how I navigated and handled tension amongst the team, but it also supported my leaders that were my direct reports in some of their biggest challenging moments that allowed us to grow a stronger connection and dynamic as a team. So let me help paint a picture for you. Imagine that you're walking into your team dedicated space, whether that's in an office, a Zoom room, might be your kitchen table. And if you're working with family, it could even be from the couch, but you can feel it. You walk into the room and you feel that tension immediately. Maybe someone's upset about a decision. Maybe there's frustration about the workload. Maybe 2 team members are at odds with each other. Your instinct? Probably to smooth it over as quick as possible, change the subject, and deal with it later when you have more time. I get it, I respect it, and I understand it. However, that is not what I would encourage. I get it. Conflict feels messy, feels pretty risky. What if I make it worse? What if people say things that they can't take back? What if I actually ruin a connection by confronting this conflict? But here's what I discovered during some of my most challenging leadership moments of leading my team. When you avoid conflict, you don't make it go away. You just push it underground where it actually grows bigger and more toxic and lasts longer than it needs to. The moment that changed everything, I was a store director back in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I could tell the energy and the tension was high in my building. The whole day was just off. The productivity was down. I kept getting that feeling like everybody's walking on eggshells, but I'm kind of missing the punchline as to why. And finally, I called a huddle over the walkie and I said, "Hey team, can everybody meet me in the back room? Please, if you're not with a guest, come meet me in the back room." And they all came in the back. They went straight to the line where we used to unload a trailer because that also is the biggest space in the back room, even though it wasn't actually big at all. Kudos to all the teams unloading Q4 freight back in the back room on the line. But instead, I was standing in front of the massive walk-in freezer door. Yes, I did say freezer door, because sometimes you literally just need to cool off. And so I tried to make this as engaging as possible. So I gathered my team and I looked at him and I said, "Look, something is not right today in the atmosphere, in the energy, in the attitudes. I don't know what it is, but I'm starting a timer for 2 minutes. And I would like us to all step in the walk-in freezer to cool off. And during that 2 minutes, you get to tell me whatever it is that is driving tension that you're thinking about. No filter, no consequences, just truth. You got 2 minutes, clock's on, ready, set, go." And then I shut up for 120 seconds, 2 full minutes. And I let the team unload everything. The frustrations about a new policy that wasn't working, the concerns about the team member impact, the confusion about the priorities, the feeling like their input didn't matter anyways and they just had to do the workload. Some of it was really hard to hear. Some of it stung a little bit. But you know what happened after 120 seconds of being quiet and listening? We could finally move forward because the real issues were on the table. And instead of festering beneath the surface, that became a constant 2-minute rule to reset when tension was high and we needed to shift gears as a team. Now, because I held it in the freezer, it was comical and hilarious, but it also stuck with the team. And then it became, hey boss, can you meet me back by the freezer? I knew the cue. Somebody needed 120 seconds of my time. When tension is high and you can feel conflict brewing, as a leader, you stop everything and create space for the truth to come out. 2 minutes of unfiltered honesty in exchange for a genuine resolution works wonders. But here's how it works realistically. Step 1 is that you acknowledge what everyone can feel. You stop pretending like everything is fine when you know it's not. And you say something like, I can feel there's tension here and we need to address it. So we're going to do a quick reset. That's it. Step 2, create psychological safety. Do not skip this step. It's crucial as leaders. You have to genuinely mean it when you say there are no consequences for honesty in this moment. And I mean that too. If people think that they will later be punished for what they say now, they will not be real with you. And they know that you're not going to support what they have to say anyways. That doesn't create a psychologically safe environment where your team can come to you and share the real of whatever's going on and know that you're going to step in and support them to navigate through it. Step 3 is set the timer, be quiet, and listen. 2 minutes. Not 5, not 10, 2. 2 minutes is long enough for people to get their real feelings out, but short enough that it doesn't turn into a town hall complaining session. Step 4 is to reflect back what you heard. Remove the emotions, but reflect back the action of what you're being told. Don't defend it. Don't explain it. Don't justify it. Just say, okay, here's what I'm hearing. Summarize it all the way down to its core fact issue of what is being shared. And step 5 is commit to action. And that doesn't mean you're expected to now go solve and resolve everything that just popped off in the last 120 seconds. It means committing to action, saying, thank you for telling me. Here's what I'm going to do about this. And let me take some partners. Let me do some work on my own, and I will follow back up with you. Now, let me be real with you about all of this and what this looks like in practice, because sometimes what comes out of those 2-minute conversations is stuff about you as a leader, and that is the hardest part because your ego hears it. And I remember during one 2-minute session where the team basically told me that I was micromanaging them into the ground. They felt like they couldn't breathe. They felt like they couldn't make decisions on their own because I was going to come around the corner giving them feedback of why that's different than the direction I just gave. You probably just heard my ego come up. And when it also came up is when they said that I would tell them that I trusted them, but then I questioned every decision that they made. That doesn't give autonomy. That also doesn't make people feel trusted. That was my ego coming into play. Now, that is normal for your first instinct feeling is to get defensive, to explain why you're doing what you're doing, why I was asking them so many questions. But instead, you've got to be able to take a step back and take a deep breath and say, you know what, you're right. I can see how my questions feel like I don't trust your judgment. After just telling you I was going to give you the autonomy to decide, let me figure out a better way to stay informed without making you feel undermined. That's it. That conversation changed the entire dynamic because they saw that I could also handle the feedback without making them pay for it later. So here are 3 phrases that change a lot of things quickly in tense moments. Phrase number 1, help me understand your perspective. This will immediately shift you from adversity into an ally. And instead of, well, you're wrong, it's, I want to see this through your eyes. But you've got to genuinely mean that. Phrase number 2, what would need to change for this to work out better? Now, when someone on the receiving end hears this, it moves you, as speaking to them, from a problem-focused to a solution-focused. It also assumes that their input is value in creating a solution together. Phrase number 3, I hear you, and here is what I'm going to do about it. This shows that you're not only listening, you're listening to go into action. But here's what else the 2-minute rule does. It transforms you from a leader who manages conflict to a leader who leverages it. Because conflict, handled well, can in fact build a team that trusts one another faster, and they can build something that outlasts almost anything else. So think about your strongest relationships. I bet they include moments where you worked through some pretty difficult times together, where you had hard conversations and you came out closer on the other side. You see, the same thing happens as a leader leading your teams at work. Now, I do want to preface this. There are times when you should not use the 2-minute rule. Do not use it if you're not actually ready to hear what people have to say. Don't use it if you are in a reactive state yourself, and do not use it if you are not prepared to take action on the things that you learned during the 2 minutes. You see, this 2-minute rule only works if you're genuinely committed to creating space for truth and taking responsibility to then go do something meaningful with that truth. Here's what I hope you remember. Conflict is not a sign that you're failing as a leader. Conflict is only information. It's your team telling you where the gaps are between what is happening and what needs to happen. Your job is not to eliminate conflict as a leader. It's to create a culture where conflict can be addressed quickly, honestly, and constructively. The 2-minute rule isn't just about managing difficult moments. It is about building the kind of team where people feel safe bringing you problems before they become a crisis. And I encourage you to try it this week. When you feel that tension building, do not ignore it. Create 2 minutes, 120 seconds for yourself, your team, your leadership legacy in the making, and you yourself will thank you for it later. Thanks for listening to The Legacy Lounge. If this helped you, share it with another leader who's ready to turn conflict into connection. And until next time, keep building a legacy worth living. That's it for this episode of Legacy Lounge, a podcast dedicated to empowering you to lead with purpose. Remember, leadership begins with you. When you're connected to your values, strengths, and authentic self, you show up powerfully for your team, businesses, and everyone you lead. To authentically lead others, you must first lead yourself. I challenge you to consider, how are you investing in your personal growth to create a legacy that you envision? Thank you for joining me in the Legacy Lounge. If this episode sparked any thoughts or inspired action, I'd love to hear from you. I'm your host, Brin'na Rollins-Williams. Connect with me on LinkedIn or other socials, and let's continue the conversation. Remember, your legacy is built one intentional step at a time.